Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Major players in South Africa's mining sector have signed a framework agreement for sustainable mining, despite the Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union not being present at the launch. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer tells us more. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
Can you tell us a bit about the details of the framework that was signed this week?
This is an incredible framework. I don't think there's any world precedent for what has happened here. You know, government, business and labour coming together and doing this really elaborate, comprehensive document, committing one another to actually creating a platform for sustainable mining going into the future. It's got three parts in that, there are immediate things that have to be done, and we see there prioritised areas there where they have to take action. But, that really deals with law and order and a return of stability and peace. And you could see in the background there was the justice cluster and the law enforcement cluster. They were right in there at the highest level. So, the Minister of Police was there, the Minister of Justice was there. They're all part of the government cluster to make sure that there's law and order. They're not going to compromise on law and order and a return of peace and stability. Then, from the employer's point of view, that immediate thing is saying, look, if these people are engaging in illegal activities, we've also got to discipline them at a work level. So you have, a two-pronged effort to make sure that people don't step out of line, particularly as these wage talks are coming up.
Now, there was overwhelming consensus that the framework agreement captured the correct approach to addressing the mining industry's problems. But ANCU wasn't there to sign. Do you think they will sign?
I think ANCU will sign, because how can you not sign a document like this? I mean, if you're signing a document like, I'm not going to really commit myself to law and order. I mean, you're obliged to sign a document like this. I think that they need to explain to their members that this is a document that you cannot not sign. It's a sort of an offer you can't refuse. And so therefore, their workers also need to go along with this. They seem to be caught between this forum and saying, look, no, we don't disagree with anything here. And workers, when they go back, who are saying, I don't know, you must set a whole lot of preconditions. You must, all the people who have been axed, they must get their job. Those are different issues. You're working on a framework agreement for sustainability of mining. You can't bring in a whole list of preconditions that involve what people said at public platforms. And, your document will go from here to Joburg. It'll be so long. I mean, you can't work on what people said. And these are the sort of things that I think the workers are demanding on the other side. So, in a way, AMCU's caught between a rock and a hard place. And now they have to say to their workers, look, that's another issue. Dismissals are another issue. We can't use this document to leverage reinstatement. Reinstatement has got to go through another course, and there is a legal framework for this. In this issue here, it's looking at how to get mining back on the right track, not only in the immediate term through law and order, but also, in the longer term, where you've got these terrible issues like migrant labour that have to get out the way. And this document caters for all that, and it's a very large segment of people that have got behind this document. The only missing ingredient is AMCU now. Now, AMCU is a majority union in the platinum area, but it's not the majority union yet, or may never be, in the gold sector where these talks are coming up. Hopefully, this document will make sure that we never have another Marikana. Marikana 2 through this document is out, in my view, because the police will adopt different tactics to stopping law and order. So that's the main issue out of the way. This document gets that. It's a bulwark as well against potential conflict ahead of these wage talks. So I think it's an excellent document. The fact that AMCU hasn't signed it now, but has said, look, we're coming back to sign it, also makes it almost completely closed, as it were, as a deal.
What are some of the main roles and commitments from government side?
Government, we're the only publication, I think, to actually print this framework in full. And, journalists don't normally do that because it's like a legal document. But
this one's quite simple to understand, though.
Very simple to understand, and I think that we need to put this document out so that a person at a mine can also get access to this and say, well, look, these are the commitments, these are the roles, and you can see it's business commits to accelerating transformation in the industry. I mean, that's a hang of a thing. If I was a miner sitting out there, I'd say, wow, what an opportunity for me. And they've committed here in this very formal document. And then Labour, commits to use all available mechanisms to ensure transformation. So that's right top of the list. Fantastic opportunity, career opportunities for workers. I mean, they should be grasping this. It's a wonderful opportunity for them, but ensuring rule of law, peace and stability, of course. And I mean, who doesn't want to do that? I mean, who is so aggressively minded that they want people to die, the wage talks, and those people mustn't be allowed to happen again. We mustn't have that. And then business commits, if their staff actually break the law, there's also got to be disciplinary action at business level. So everybody's coming into it, and Labour commits to supporting interventions at work that stop violence. So how could AMCU not want to do that? Because if they don't sign this, then people will say, why aren't you signing it? They'll have to give very valid reasons. If it's around law and order, then people say, but I mean, that's not your role to promote violence and people die. So I think that they do. I mean, from my point of view, my interaction with AMCU, they commit themselves to law and order. They always have. So now they just have to persuade their members that this is an offer you cannot refuse.
When can we expect for it to be implemented?
That is the big issue. I don't think, in terms of negotiations, this hasn't been too bad, because, 19 days after a draft was agreed, only 19 days, the overwhelming part of the who's who of industry have signed this document. There's only one gap, and that's AMCU. And AMCU has never said we won't sign this document. They've never said, no, there are a whole lot of things that we don't agree with. They say, no, the document is good. So therefore, we can expect them to come back at some stage. And what the Deputy President, I think he has to get a lot of credit for this. It's a tough ask to go into as a politician, to do this sort of work, that it's sort of can be career limiting. But I think he's come out on top. And he said, we want you to have done it yesterday, AMCU. That's my timeline. Yesterday. So he's expecting them to come back imminently.
And you can see how serious government and business and Labour all are, the fact that it only took 19 days to do this. Yes,
19 days is not a lot of time in mining history. We've been going for 120 years. And so if this is going to sort it out, it's nothing like we've had in the past in, the 1922 strike, and how unions actually took up arms against the government and used cannons at, just outside Johannesburg here to blast the city and massacred soldiers as they embarked from trains at Dunswat. I mean, we haven't reached that stage, thank goodness. And this is a sort of document that will prevent law and order being overturned.
Well, I'm very glad it's happened. Thank you very much, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Shannon.
That's the show for today. Join us again next time for more news and insight into what's happening in the mining world.